Hello, beautiful people. My name's Kristen. Thank you for stopping by my channel today. I am going to be doing a book haul for the end of the year. My birthday's the end of November, and then, of course, Christmas. So, received quite a few books I want to share with you, get your opinions or feedback how top of the TBR stack I should put them on, as well as I thought I'd go ahead and just do a general end of the year goals recap and then a brief. I'm only going to pick 5 books from my January TBR and start into those, so I thought I'd go ahead and share those and also get any feedback from you on that. So first, I have picked up The Fourth Bear by Jasper Fforde. This is one of the nursery rhyme go into retelling, characters come out of the book. Seems like it should be really fun kind of book. I also was at a conference that I received this free book, Having Nothing, Possessing Everything. Its subtitle is Finding Abundant Communities in Unexpected Places. And then it has a foreword by Reverend Gregory Boyle, who is a pastor that I follow in California, who has a heart for renovating gang members. So this Michael Mather, I think is kind of trying to do some also urban reform and learn about that ministry. So that seems like it would be fun. Then for book of the month, I have picked up 2 books. Leanne Moriarty's newest one, Here One Moment, and then The Teller of Small Fortunes. This seems like a beautiful little fairy tale, found family, funsy kind of book. I need to be careful about how many new books I keep bringing into my life. But having said that, I had added the Berry Pickers to my shopping list because I needed one more thing to get free shipping. So then the shipping cost comes off of the book cost, right? And this is beautiful. And I've actually had 2 or 3 of y'all and my friends tell me that that book is a Kristen kind of book. So I look forward to that. Speaking of Kristen kind of book, I also had been recommended from Susan at Road Reads this book that she read, A Month in the Country, J.L. Carr. I always have trouble remembering acronyms for some reason. So this seems like a beautiful little, I'm not sure if it's an official classic or how old it is, but it's just one of those kind of more classic-y comfort kind of reads. And it sounds quite lovely, and I look forward to that. I did get one more Penguin cloth-bound classic for those who follow my collection. This beautiful one by Lawrence Stern, The Life and Opinions of Tristram Shandy Gentleman. And I have no idea what it's about, but I think it is gorgeous. And I look forward to having it on my shelf and eventually reading it. I'm not sure, that that's going to get read anytime soon unless you tell me that I should. I got one of my 2 Claire Keegans on my list, Small Things Like These. I had read Blue Fields or whatever that short story collection is of hers. I have this and Foster on my TBR, and I received this one for Christmas. So I will be reading that hopefully sometime soon. I think that's one of her more popular ones. Speaking of popular ones, I also got a couple other books for Christmas that have been very popular. James, which is the retelling of Huck Finn from the runaway slave James perspective, as well as The Wedding People, which is kind of like the Wedding Crashers-esque kind of like a comedy kind of thing, and it's supposed to be really good. So when I need something light after maybe reading some more heavy ones, maybe in February, when I'm reading some of my heavier Black history books, that may be a good one to work in at that time. And then I had a gift card from a small private owned bookstore, so I used that gift card and got the Fellowship of Puzzle Makers. This seems very much like the Inheritance Games or the Westinghouse or those kind of things where there's a literal puzzle and then they need to work it to solve I don't know if it's a contest or something a little more ominous or serious than just that, but that's the kind of flavor that I got from reading that book. And I thought, why not? Why not give that a go? So that was the books that I got in November and December. Now, if you've been following me recently, I for my next reading goal, I have this read what you own challenge kind of nuance that I want to get my physical books that I own down to about 100 and keep them at 100. It was at 183 when I first counted. Now, I had a big book haul that I brought back from my mother's when she passed. And now I've got this big stack from birthday and Christmas. So I had to go in and recount how many unread physical books I have now total, thinking that maybe it had crept up, but it was 182. So 182 books that I have not finished, I'm currently reading or have not read, that are in my ownership, including all the ones that I have now shown you. So we're going to start out with that for 2025 and see if I can work it down. I'm not sure I can get it down in 1 year, but we're going to see. We're just going to see. And then that kind of leads into where am I going to start in January. So it is my practice to kind of focus on reading a classic, a nonfiction, and then a fiction. You know, obviously I can read more in each category per month, but I want to read at least one of those. So for my classic, I have been working my way through Steinbeck. I have really fallen in love with Steinbeck. He is a very accessible writer. I find myself easily drawn into his characters and following along what's going on, you know, the dialogue, even if it has a thick dialect or accent going on. And then it's just very poignant in very tragic kind of ways. He really hones in on the tragic human nature. You know, there's a reality that's just hard. There's a very sinful humanistic nature on this planet, and Steinbeck seems to have a very poignant way of tapping into that and just kind of sitting with it and acknowledging it. And so I really appreciate that about his writing. So I'm going to read this little one in January, and you'll see why I picked a short classic in a minute here. I also was feeling, as I'm looking at my backlist books and wanting to, you know, kind of tackle them, there were a couple that stuck out that are kind of books about books, and that's Barbara Davis, The Echo of Old Books, and then The Last Bookshop of London by Madeline Martin. So these two books about books, bookstores, special secret things going on, problems, drama, that stuff around books. I thought that's a great way to start out my January New Year reading. Then for nonfiction, I'm going to re-bump back one that I didn't get to in November for my TBR, the time travel book. So I'm going to use that as my nonfiction in January. And then my fifth book that I'm going to put on my TBR in January, as I'm only doing 5, but this is the reason. So excited for the 5th Stormlight Archive book by Brandon Sanderson, Wind and Truth. I have watched some of the reviews, but for the most part, there's a lot of spoilers in people's reviews. So when I get to my review, I will do a standalone review on this myself, but it will start out with non-spoilers, and then if I need to go into spoilers, because I can appreciate when you're in a 5th book of a series and it's like this, like a 1,400 page book. I have started, so I think I'm page 300 and something, and that's page 300 and something. So, but yeah, I think maybe I'm getting close to the 1/4 of the book. But yes, so those 5 books are the books that I will be reading in January. If I do get through those 5, I will just keep on knocking out some of the things that were on my TBR for November and December that I did not get to. Or just mood read and pick up something else on my backlist that calls out to me. But I think those 5 are going to keep me really busy in January, so we will see. But if you've read any of these, either from the haul or on my TBR, and want to encourage me or caution me or whatnot, meet me in the comments below. If you want to read any of these now, or just suggest that I read them sooner rather than later, leave me a comment as well. I hope that you have a blessed end of the year and a very happy, safe, but festive new year. And we go into this next year just meeting it with open arms, open hearts, open minds to receive whatever it is that the new year has for each of us. Be safe and have happy reading. Take care, y'all.